Another show today. We are privileged and honored to have Cristina here as our guest. Are you excited, Rick?
I am, and I'm hopeful that my deodorant holds up. Her shoes are so killer, man. At the end of the show, we'll pass them around so you can check them out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
We're excited. You know,
Yeah,
we've
it's
wanted to
cool.
have you on the show for a while now, so it's very nice to have you here. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Totally.
So let me do a little introduction of Cristina. I've known Cristina here for a few years, and how long has it been? 4 or 5 years now?
Going on 5 years?
Going on 5 years, and it's been a fantastic friendship. You talking about having my back. I've gone through some challenges, and she just has my back. She's unconditional in her love and support of me, and I'm just super grateful. And she teaches spin for our community too.
And she's a very powerful lawyer. That's something you need to keep in mind too.
Yeah, and you know, you've had a new addition to your family. How's that?
Well, Eva is a blessing to me, so she is actually my pride and joy. She's probably the best. She is the best thing that I've done to date.
Wow.
Good. How old is she?
She's 17 months.
Yeah, it's cute. Oh, so cute.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we got mom in the palm of her hand.
She
Am I right?
does. She does.
Yeah, and no one has Cristina in the palm of their hand but this child. I didn't think it would ever be possible, but it's possible.
Yeah, humbling.
It is possible.
Yeah. So the reason we wanted to have you on the show were for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people, male and female, will be inspired by what you do to operate in life at such a high level. You are this accomplished, successful attorney. You know, you have a family, you know, an immediate family with your husband, Chris, and with your daughter, Eva. And you have your sister, your brother, your mom and dad, and you know, nieces and nephews, and you just continue to do it all. And she's very active in the community too. I mean, so how do you do it? Plus, work out and fitness and run your own business. Like, how do you do it? What's the secret?
The secret is dedication and hard work and getting enough sleep to keep it all going. And being able to re-energize yourself.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of sleep, you know, Cristina and I have this deal because she will go and go and go. Anything that she feels that will help another person or will benefit her in terms of her growth to become a personal best, she never says no to. So we have this deal every Wednesday. I get her to commit to getting at least 7 hours of sleep.
Wow.
And when I talk to her on Thursday, if she hasn't accomplished that, then she can't teach spin class that day.
Man.
So it's become this way to help her get to sleep.
That is my longest sleep of the week, so I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I really do.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It makes a huge difference,
When you-
especially my Thursdays.
When you were starting out with ToBeRe, did you have any idea what the program was about? And how did you get involved in it? Why did you stick with it?
You know, when I started out with ToBeRe, it's a funny story. I started out saying, I'm here just for the workout. And I remember meeting with Keith and saying, you know what, just give me the workout. Little did I know the transformation that would come with ToBeRe, because it is a full package thing that you sign up for. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. But at that time, if they would have told me, here's a Cristina in 5 years, I don't know if I would have believed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the toughest part of the program? Like we do food journaling, we do the RT, resistance training, we also do cardio. And then those are sort of the nub principles behind the program. What of those, if any, were tough for you?
I wouldn't say the food part of it. The food was the easy part to come with. I think it was the being open. And when with the Cristina 5 years ago was very standoffish. Not standoffish, but arm's length. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I had to get used to. And so now it's, I was always greeted with a smile. And, hey, how are you doing? And to the point that people were so nice in this group that I was kind of hesitant about that. I was like, wait a minute.
What a bunch of
Why
fakers.
are they so nice?
False, man.
No, and then I think that was the hardest thing, because it was, it was strange to me. Not, I mean, it was being authentic to the point that I didn't understand it, where people really wanted me to do well. And in a world that we live in today, where everyone's pretty much out for themselves in the majority of the time, to come to a group where there was no judgment and everyone's pulling for you, it made everything else fall into place. So the eating, the exercise, that was the easy part for me.
Do you think that support that you've just described was something that was helpful in getting you to what your goals were, to help you meet those goals?
Transformational.
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
only word that I
Wow.
have for that.
That's great.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
That's a great word. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, man, I'm inspired. When did I sign up for the next workshop? Like, man, I'm like, seriously. I mean, it's really wow. Christina, we've never talked about that, and I didn't know that, Rick. So thank you for the question and having Christina answer it. Yeah, I'm really humbled and pleased and grateful for what we do in our workshops, because it is literally a community that makes those kinds of results possible.
Well, and keep this in mind too. When we're talking about ToBeRe, it's not just something where we stand around and we do 3 curls and then tell each other how great we are. This is a very rigorous, difficult, top to bottom program. It's like being in the Navy SEALs, kind of. And that's another thing that I wanted to ask you about was, did you have any reservations about being a woman and going through something so rigorous, getting up at 4 in the morning, writing all of your food journaling, being pushed on the weights, being pushed on the cardio?
I never worked out the way that I did before ToBeRe.
Wow.
I mean, I was in sports in high school, but not really dedicated, just kind of coasted by. I wasn't very good at running. I wasn't very good at weightlifting. I mean, I didn't really do that. So that was a shock in the beginning to see what what you had to do, but then I enjoyed it because I realized that I could do it. And so it wasn't Christina's running funny. It's like Christina's running with all the guys. And she's going to go ahead and give them a run for their money.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I learned about it, and it was empowering as a woman. And I think that's something that I really enjoy of ToBeRe, because when we do our Sunday RTs, it's not the guys workout and the girls workout. It's the same workout.
That's right.
Guys and girls together, and you get to experience this together. So there's that gender neutralness about it that I really enjoy.
And there, I think there's something also about male and female energy that work together. There's something about it that we maybe not get. We probably get a little bit of it in the workplace, but when you're doing something physical with other men and other women, there's a synergy that comes about by virtue of that. And my feeling, I felt better when I was with other women, and the men, of course. But I think that was kind of an interesting thing. Did you ever have a workout group where you were with men?
Well, the workout group that we have is safe. I usually do the workout on Sundays, which is 5 a.m. And that one is, I'd say 50% men,
Right.
50% women.
That's a good one.
It's a good workout, and that is it's a tough workout. And so it went from the point, and I know Keith remembers me back then, where I had a whole story behind it. Right? So it was, getting me to go through it. You were very patient. Right? So to the point now where I think it's been I've evolved to the point where I go in to work out, I mean business. It's my personal best every time.
You bet.
I'm not competing against anyone else except myself.
Totally.
And it's, and some days I can do a lot, and some days I can't do as much, and it's okay being able to understand it, because the only person that I am proving anything to is myself.
Right.
And then today, after a workout, I went out and did another
Oh, my
workout.
goodness.
So it was, so it's amazing when I stop, because sometimes I'm hard on myself, where it's I don't think I'm doing enough, or I can be doing more. But then when I stop and I think about the past 5 years and where I started to where I am now, just by lifting a couple weights in that progression, to now being able to do this kick butt workout, and then afterwards do another. I went and did a cycle class, and then do a kick butt cycle class.
Yes.
That's real. It's impressive. It's an amazing feat that most people don't do.
Right.
And so I have to stop and say thank you. So that ToBeRe's given me that.
Speaking of that, one thing that Christina and I, we talk once a week, and we have this great relationship in which we support each other. And one of the things we talk about is being grateful for what you have. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
refreshing to hear me say, Christina, that she's, grateful and appreciative to those things, to be able to do that at that level of fitness and that optimal health. So are you grateful about every aspect of your life, or are there some areas that you kind of struggle with?
Oh, so I know that in other podcasts, you've talked about negative self-talk, and I think everyone has that.
Totally.
Men, females,
You bet.
I mean, and in my line of work, it's hard to not have negative self-talk, because you could always do something better. I think the way that I'm wired also causes that, so I have to kind of bring that back in, which takes I can tend, if I don't stop myself, I can take things for granted. So, being a perfectionist, a type A personality, someone who always wants to be achieving at every level, I found myself not appreciating all of the achievements, always looking at, I could have done that differently.
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't I say this instead? Maybe if I would have said A, then someone would have, the judge would have ruled with me this way.
All right.
And so that makes it difficult. So I've had to become very conscious. And so every day I stop and I'm grateful for three things. So
Yes.
to myself, I say, okay, I'm part of this gratitude chain that's been going on probably for the last 3 years. And so every day by 6 p.m., I text 2 girlfriends and say, I am grateful for the following things. I just did it before I walked in.
Sweet.
And so, and then besides that, also I've talked to Keith about it. What am I really grateful for? So when something is landing on me a certain way, I want to make sure that I stop and I say, let me shift that energy and look at it a different way.
You've been so good about
And
that.
that's because it impacts every aspect.
Totally.
It
Yeah.
impacts my husband,
You
it
bet.
impacts my daughter. I don't want her to see that. So if I'm always the hardest person on myself, then I know that she's gonna see that, and I don't want her to be hard on herself. And so
Sure.
I'm making a conscious effort to not be that way.
I think one of the things we all lose sight of is how important we are to other people. And so when we have something that isn't so good for us and we drop that pebble into the stream or that silent pool, that pebble is dirt, and it ripples out. That effect carries over to everybody.
Absolutely.
It's not just yourself that's unloading something. You have to be mindful of all of the people that you affect by virtue of your acting
Right.
out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned that you are a perfectionist and type A personality, and you found the balance with that, being, motivated to deliver your best, not so much being about, I'm a failure if I don't produce this kind of result or I don't get this kind of outcome, but just be your best. So what I found for me is that when I am that way with myself, if I don't, grow and try to manage it as best I can, because ego is always in play. If I don't do that, I start having expectations of other people that they can't possibly live up to. So, we talked about this a little bit, but I'd love you to share about how do you, manage expectations of other people and things like that.
That's actually a very good question, because a perfectionist isn't only a perfectionist with themselves. You start expecting other people to produce a certain way, and that is extremely difficult. So as a business owner, I have to understand that people are all individuals, and although I would like them to produce a certain way, I can only lead by example, and that's the best that I can do, but I cannot project what I'm expecting them to do. I mean, within reason. I mean, people
Right.
are supposed to show up, do what they're supposed to do, and so forth. But I cannot expect someone to react the same way as I would in a situation, because then that also causes resentment. Same thing in my household. My husband, bless his heart, he is very patient, and so we are the perfect yin and yang. So I am very go, 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 and he's the kind of, hey, let's take a step back and just kind of slow it down. So the way that I react in a situation may not be the way that he'll react in a situation, or the way that I'll run my business may not be the same way that he runs his business. So it's not fair for me to project on what he should be doing. And so that's something that I needed also to have a conscious effort on controlling. Same thing with it's amazing. And if you would have told me this 2 years ago, that I would have been looking at it, how this little human comes into your life, and then all of a sudden she changes everything about you. And it's for the better.
Right.
Because before, I was so by the book, A, B, C, D, this is what we're doing. No one prepares you for, this child's gonna come in and she's not going to care where you're supposed to be going or what you have to do. If she's hungry, you're going to have to feed her. If she needs to go to the restroom, you're gonna have to stop and do what you have to do. And all of a sudden, this little person looks at you and is soaking up every single thing that you're saying, how you're acting, your temper, the way that you're feeling about yourself. So that's why the world that I'm creating and the environment that I'm creating for her is one that I have to lead by example for.
Right.
And so I don't want, especially with the way things are for women these days, and the role models that girls have. I don't want that. I don't want to have a negative effect on the way she sees herself, or the expectations that that I'm putting on her. I want her to grow up in an environment where she understands and is proud of who she is for what she is, and kind of go that way. And that's something that's the biggest responsibility and job that I've been given.
As you were speaking, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we all had that kind of encouragement when we were 1 year old?
Yeah.
Sky's the limit, man, on that one.
Exactly.
One quick story on this. I tell you, I've told this before on one of these podcasts, but it's true. Christina's one of those women that I thought when I got in, there'd be no problem. It'd be great. I wanted to really show what a cool guy I was and how great I would be at spin. So I took a spin bike a couple away from her, 2 bikes away from her, and I thought, this is gonna be no sweat. By the 4th minute, I was counting down how much longer the class was going, because she really kicked my butt. Oh man, she's amazing athlete.
No doubt.
Amazing athlete, really, really fine.
So Christina, what is some of the, what's some of the stuff, that you, as a, female, the negative self-chatter, Rick and I talked about it as males, the negative self-chatter. Rick talked about it, as he, is in his late 60s. He talks about, the negative chatter about being older and stuff like that. I talked about my fear of unrealized potential and how that can play on me. What about you? Do you have the negative self-chatter about, are you doing enough? Do you look good enough? Do you prepare? All that stuff. Like, what are some of the things that you do? Because people find it hard to believe that Rick has negative self-chatter, or there's a fear that he has, or we interviewed Tim or myself. Yeah,
it's
so
all of us.
So I think it really humanizes everybody and let them know that they're not alone and we all deal with it. So what's some of yours?
Oh my goodness, what's some of mine? I deal with it all the time. So I think I deal with it more in career, and making sure that I am looked at a certain way, because this is gonna sound, we're in the year 2017, and probably once a month I have someone ask me whether my dad is the owner of the law firm, or if I'm married to the owner.
That's
And so
sad.
I have 9 attorneys and a staff of 24, and so I get that usually once a month. And so that's something that I get chatter about, whether I'm doing well, or why do people see me that way, and so forth. And then being a female, as you get older, you also want to make sure, there's a lot of pressure in the way that you look and how you portray yourself and so forth. So I have stopped myself, and I've literally done this where if I start feeling not good about myself, I will give myself a pep talk, and I will say,
That's great.
You have
either
to.
in front of a mirror or just at my
That's great.
desk, and say, you know what? You're smart. You've earned to be here, and you can do this.
Absolutely, that's great.
And
That's
I
great
do
advice.
that. I do that.
Men or women, that's
Yeah.
great advice.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Wow. So Christina, what would be, maybe 2 or 3 things you would tell people that, say that, hey, I have a job or I have a career that is totally demanding. I got responsibilities with family, with taking kids here, there, all these other things. They say I don't have time. What's your response to that?
My response to that is, I know the schedule that I keep, and if you want something, you'll make time. And the main thing, and I know that you touched on this before when I was pregnant with Eva, that said, because I worked out throughout the whole pregnancy, and if you made a great point and it just hit home with me. If I am not providing that time for myself and making that time for myself to make a better me, how can I give that better me to my family,
Right.
to my coworkers, to my peers? And so that's why I say it's worth it.
Wow.
And it's like that old sales technique. Like, how can you afford to do that? Well, how can you afford not to?
Yeah.
Right? So
Right,
it's kind of
exactly.
that.
Oh, that's
Oh,
very
that's
good.
fantastic. Rick, you want to say anything else as we close the show?
I just wanted to say, again, the red shoes are a knockout, but here's the thing. Christina is a total package of someone that we all respect and ToBeRe.
Absolutely.
She's held to the highest standards in her own personal life with her family. She's an amazing lawyer, and this is an example of kids, whether they're boys or girls, of working hard and getting what you want when you work hard and putting your whole heart into it.
Absolutely, and to add to that, and it's the way in which she does it. She's not out, cutting someone else off at the knees or, bashing someone else. The Cristina who I sit across today, we've grown together, we've helped each other, become our personal best, and we're both committed to that for the rest of our lives. And you can be beautiful, accomplished, successful, a great parent, an amazing friend, and be loving the whole way while you do
Totally,
it. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like you can tell, and be authentic, not be fake, and
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
unconditional. And you do that so well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
That's
mean,
true.
I owe a lot of it to you and to ToBeRe, and
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's just this community is, like I said, transformational.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, great guys. Thank you for being here for the show.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by and having a look. And please send comments. So if there's something that's bugging you or you'd like to hear about us or interview people, whatever, we're totally open. This is your community and we'd love to serve.
Well, thank you for having me here, guys.
Great. Thank you, Christina.
Thanks, Christina.